Now, whether it's the Necronomicon from Evil Dead, the Grimoire Vice from Nier Automata, the Book of Shadows from Blair Witch, or the Handbook of the recently deceased in Beetlejuice, there are a lot of magical grimoires in games and media, and which one DE is taking influence from right here is hard to tell. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's got to be Nier Automata, right? Or Final Fantasy. It's got to be, because Rebecca loves those games. But the point is that Warframe is bringing out a new weapon type with the Whispers in the Wall update, and it is a void magic book. So you can kill people with knowledge. I'm all for throwing some void magic at enemies. Now, the Grimoire apparently is Albrecht and Trati's diary, so plenty of Dear Diary moments, I'm sure. During TennoCon the reveal, we've seen a little bit of the Grimoire in action. It seems to have two separate fire modes, with the normal fire mode throwing void magic projectiles that explode on impact, with I think some splash damage, and then the all fire mode seemed to conjure up a large orb which floated and travelled slowly and then chained either void or lightning damage between enemies, which then kind of exploded. Now, the Grimoire isn't the only thing coming with the Whispers update. Player Hub, of course, in Necrolisk is also expanding, and under it is a completely new procedurally generated tileset within what looks like Albrecht's lab, with new game modes and new enemy types. The tileset had destructible containers with void goop that seemed to melt the necromechs. It had body parts of one of the giant vessels sticking out in certain rooms with veins and hands and so on. It had a serious mad scientist vibe to it, as well as the kind of Castlevania look. There was even a train station with two void portals on either end, and an old subway looking kind of train zip between the two portals, which I know some of us in the community will get killed by it, right? You'll bullet jump through and get splattered by that train in the same way that the trains in Destiny 2 will run your ass over. The Necromech faction is expanding with a lot more Necromech enemy types, from small dog styled ones to ones with fluid containers on their shoulders that have some of that void goop, containers that can be shot and damaged in order to dismember the Necromechs. The update is also bringing a new faction called the Murmurs, which seem to be void enemies from within the Great Indifference, that area when the walls all disappeared and had clouds in the distance with faces on them. That is known as the Great Indifference. There was also some eyes in the wall, right? The lidless eyes. But the Murmurs are very interesting, and I do hope they are the first of many new void types of enemies to be added into the game. Like this boss, the Fragmented Tide, which was on Phase 2 turns into the Fragmented 1. There was ads spawning in, area of effect damage on the ground, and I don't know if the boss had damage attenuation or what its damage immunities were, or what mod setup they were using on the Incarnate Soma in the footage, but it did take a few minutes to kill the boss. It looked like they have maybe followed on from that Uroworm fight with some good mechanics, but time will tell. Now, we met the real Lloyd, who a lot of you have noticed is also wearing a suit that is very similar to Limbo's, which opens up some questions, or maybe it is just a bit of a coincidence. Lloyd brings us over to the vessels, which Rebecca mentions on stream that we will be able to take control of, but then we pass out and the Warframe 1999 cutscene starts, which a lot of you said in yesterday's video was probably just for cinematic purposes, and that us collapsing and Art or Excalibur collapsing at the same time are not related, and you might be right. But that just makes me wonder why we collapsed after entering whatever code we did into the CRT computer. But the CRT computer screen does say transference right vessel, which means there might be a transference left vessel as well, and it also had a corruption meter on it which was stuck at a 23% filled. Now, maybe these vessels will be tied to some kind of an event or tied to the new game mode, we don't know, but the fact that this update is in October, which means it's really close, means we don't have too long to wait, and it is happy days for Warframe, because having new content around the corner is always appreciated. And I really can't wait to see where this story with Lloyd and with the vessels is going to take us, and how it's going to lead into Warframe 1999. But let me know what you thought of the Whispers in the Wall showcase, of the Grimoire weapon as well, of the vessels, of Lloyd's suit. Have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.